Rise Recovery Center helps teens, young adults, and families overcome the effects of drug and alcohol. The center's CEO, Evita Morin, says she's seen some troubling trends over the past several months.
What we've seen is similar to what the education field has seen, which is that kids are very disconnected. As a result of that, we see a lot of increases in depression and anxiety. We're seeing a lot of struggling with sobriety and a lot of relapse.
Social isolation, a news cycle littered with disheartening stories, uncertainty. All of these factors are leaving both children and adults looking for comfort.
The pandemic circumstances really create the perfect environment for using.
While there still isn't a ton of data on the subject, a report released over the summer by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows 13% of U.S. adults had started or increased substance use. If you're active on Facebook or Instagram, you probably aren't surprised to hear that more people are drinking at home.
Our social media feeds have changed dramatically, and what has suddenly become normal and socially acceptable that really is putting more and more people at risk. It's this, for some reason, culturally normal coping skill and healthy or acceptable coping skill to either drink on the job or drink after work every day.
But what some may see as a harm-free way to deal with being forced to stay at home, physically distant from friends and family, may actually be causing more problems.
There are so many opportunities for us as adults to show our kids and to show our young people healthy coping mechanisms in times of stress, and we are not doing a great job of that.
Nigel Williams has worked at Rise for the past 5 years. Helping teens and young adults stay sober is personal for him.
I got sober December 9th, 2014 when I was 20 years old. I'm actually a former client of Rise Recovery.
Williams' parents made him get help when he was in high school.
It's the same old story. My grades had dropped in school a little bit. My interest in all of my other hobbies and activities had dwindled to almost nothing.
He also says he had mood swings and a bad temper, something that many would chalk up to being a teenager. But he urges parents who are concerned their teens may be developing an addiction to drugs or alcohol to take that instinct seriously.
I know teenage years can be kind of hard for some people, and teenagers are unpredictable, but I would go with your gut instinct. If you think it's probably happening, it might be happening.
It can be hard to spot substance dependencies in adults as well. So how can you tell if having a few drinks at home is something you should be concerned about?
A general rule of thumb is if it's getting in the way of other things in your life, if people are starting to prioritize drinking, as the main activity of the day, or sometimes before it gets to that, it's edging out other relationships, other activities, other duties in their life.
A lot of people saying, well, I'll binge and then I won't have it for a while, therefore I don't have a problem. But binge drinking is actually diagnosable as an addiction if it comes and goes in these extreme measures.
If other people are noticing, if other people are making comments. That's the funny thing about addiction, though. It's real difficult for an individual to catch themselves.
And because of that, it's not a bad idea for you to keep an eye on your loved ones.
For the most part, people don't generally on their own ask for help. They get asked to ask for help by someone that's close to them.
So what are some healthy ways to cope? You can meditate or try yoga, stay active, maintain routines.
Also, paying attention to your thoughts and your sleeping habits. The little things amount to big things.
And another key piece of the puzzle, stay connected. Maureen says that she initially put her social life on the back burner early on in the pandemic, but she reached back out to friends when she realized it was affecting her mental health.
We've gone even into, going back into the old-fashioned letter writing and, gift box giving, doing things that just re-engage all of our senses. And social media, being able to take a break off that, always a great idea, because I'm always surprised at what else is out there when I open my eyes and put my phone away.
And if you're one of the many who has been working from home for months, like Alpha Home Recovery Support Services Supervisor Nicole Cooper, make sure to create boundaries.
I can just feel like I need to always be doing something or calling someone, but also take that moment for yourself. Self-care. Self-care is super important, and not the self-care happy hour, like the self-care that's going to be healthy, eating right, and reading, whatever it is that you're passionate about.
And whether it's dealing with depression or addiction, there's no shame in reaching out for help. William says his years-long road to recovery was filled with ups and downs. But ultimately, a big thing that helped him get sober was having mentors who understood what he was going through.
It took me sitting across from someone who had sat and been exactly where I had been for me to truly get it and to want to accept the help, because I knew that man had seen what I had seen. And when he kind of got my confidence, we built some rapport. When he told me, hey, I've lived how you've lived, and I don't have to live that way anymore, I could believe it.
And now he's giving back, helping teens and young adults get through a struggle he's familiar with. And Cooper, who is also in recovery, says there has been a silver lining for her during this tough time.
Any areas in my recovery that were weak or complacent, that was very apparent as soon as COVID showed up. So anything that I had been slacking on in my recovery showed up really quickly. And I started to get to work on that before it spiraled.